What in the hell are we looking at here? I don't know, but I can say for sure that I don't like it. They look like the ghost girl from Ringu poking her head out of the water. They're pale with long black hair covering most of their faces, if these even are faces we're looking at here. It's hard to tell. You'll also notice they seem to have glowing, reflective eyes. So the story behind this clip is that back in April of this year, a trail cam was set up right at the edge of a river where locals had been experiencing strange things, telling stories of dark spirits lurking in the water. Now, as for where the footage comes from, I've seen comments saying it's a river called Namor Ong. I tried to look up Namor Ong and I can't find any info on that place, so please let me know in the comments if you know anything about that or if Namor Ong even exists at all. Anyway, a pretty spooky clip. This next piece of trail cam footage comes from a TikToker named The Most Mandy, who posted this eerie footage captured by the security camera outside her home in the Appalachian Mountains. So we see a figure in a long white robe moving across her property, at one point saying, "Let me in this very craggly, almost witch-like voice. She gets closer and closer to the house until the motion sensors go off and she retreats back into the shadows. Here's another clip taken by a camera at another part of the house. We can hear the woman better in this clip, not that we really want to. Well, you know what? She sold me. I'd have let her in. I mean, how could anyone turn down such a soothing, friendly voice like that? Back in June, a hunter placed a trail camera in the woods expecting to pick up animals. Instead, he captured this odd scene. At about 2 a.m., a figure wearing what looks like a long dress steps out from the shadows and passes the camera. Who was this person and what were they doing in the middle of the woods at 2 in the morning? Well, they were running from someone or something. As the video continues, we see a dark mass crawl out of the depths of the thicket. As the thing gets closer, we notice it's crawling. It looks like it has long dark hair and reflective eyes. The rest of its face is hard to make out, but there's something not quite right about whatever this thing is. This next video is also captured by a trail cam in the Appalachian Mountains. It was posted by Elizabeth Maynard 98, who captured something incredibly unsettling moving across her property, and there were a pair of them. When they first pass by, it's hard to make out what these things are, but they're clearly walking on all fours. They move off camera before turning around and passing the camera again, this time walking on their hind legs, looking much more humanoid, but no less disturbing. They're incredibly thin with glowing eyes and look to be hairless, almost like your classic stereotypical alien. They also walk with this very unnatural gait, taking these itty-bitty little steps, almost like they're not used to walking upright. Some commenters also think these creatures look like rakes, skinwalkers, or possible wendigos, but what do you all think? This is a very strange post from about 9 months back by Reddit user What Did You Do, Ray, who was seeking out help about the odd behavior he was experiencing with his trail camera, writing, "This trail cam is at a Christmas tree farm in Bedford, Pennsylvania. There are no buildings, lights, or structures in the area at all where this cam is. Every night for the past 2 months, my cam takes a picture at exactly 12:05 and 1 second in the AM. There is never anything in the pics. No deer, squirrels, foxes, etc. Recently, the pictures have shown a red light being cast across the top of the trees. One pic shows the red light to be extremely bright and def in a circle around the trees. And then there is the picture from March 5th of 2024 that shows 2 blurs, one directly above one of the trees and a very similar blur to the right on the ground just off the road. The odder thing is that this picture's timestamp is at 12:05 and 2 seconds. It's the only picture in the entire series of pics from the past 2 months that was taken 1 second later. Now, he also posted in the comments later that he'd switched the camera to take video instead of pictures at one point, and that the camera would successfully take video at any other time of day except 12:05 a.m., where it wouldn't take video when the sensor went off at that time, only taking a picture. Definitely strange. So the question is, what's causing this camera to go off? Well, something was hovering above the trees, casting a red light at the exact same time of night every night for 2 months. So this image was posted to Reddit by user PHFM 4 months ago, with the caption reading, "Friend's trail cam in North Carolina." Now, I would be pretty alarmed knowing this thing was lurking around in the dark anywhere near me. The immediate thought is, well, that doesn't look right. This is a hairy creature standing on 2 legs, must be Bigfoot. Well, Probably not. I mean, this could easily be a black bear. Bears do stand on their hind legs, and it could be hunching over, which is why you can't see its head. But even still, there's just something creepy about this image. It just looks oddly human to me. It's the best way I can describe it. What do you think, though? Bear, Bigfoot, werewolf, skinwalker, and mid-transformation? Let us know in the comments. Back in July of this year, the Instagram account Lower Florida Bucks posted this series of images here with the description reading, "I've had some strange trail cam pics sent in through the years, but these from Roberts Lowell might just take the cake." He got pics of this person/creature on 2 separate cameras and swears they're legit. He also said these were taken on a property 12 miles from the nearest town. What do y'all make of it? And that's a very good question. What do you make of whatever this is? It's hard to make anything out because of how blurry the figure is. Clearly it was darting around at a good speed. I can say this though, it doesn't look human, at least not exactly. This next Reddit post is from 2 months back. JT245 writes, "Hello. After looking at some old photos from a trail camera, I noticed a silhouette in the background and a white spot on the second photo. My brother was alone and has no explanation. What are your theories?" Now, take a real close look at these images and see if you can spot anything. It's hard to notice at first, but look at the middle right-hand side of the first image. We'll zoom in and circle it for you. Okay, so it's a shape that sort of has a form you might be able to recognize as a person, maybe. This wouldn't be all that strange on its own, but now take another look at the second picture. Whatever that shape is, it isn't there anymore. Now, I couldn't spot the white spot the uploader described in the second picture, but if you can find it, let us know down in the comments. But that figure is kind of strange. It's pretty small. Some people have said it looks like almost maybe it could be a fae. I don't know. So this next story may be not a creature captured on trail cam, but it's equally, if not more disturbing. This woman here was captured on a deer cam in the woods, going back and forth in the dark for hours, barefoot. The owner of the property was pretty alarmed when he saw the images, making a post online about it, reading, "Does anyone recognize this girl/woman? She appeared on my trail camera in July of this year at 5 a.m. She was barefoot and appears to be running. She isn't in any trouble with me, just curious who she is, what she was doing, and if she's okay. If you recognize her, please message me. I've been baffled by this for a month, mainly because the woods can be tough walking with boots. I contacted police as soon as I discovered the photos. They were baffled as well." Now, some commenters say she may just have been on a run, but apparently there are no trails nearby, and the area she was running in has a thicket that the property owner's dog won't even go through. It's just thick vegetation. No one would be wandering through there, especially at night barefoot. So it's just all very strange and kind of concerning. At the time of this recording, Redditor Apart Operation 329 just made this post a little over a week ago with the caption, "Humanoid found on trail cam." They went on to write, "My friend sent this to our group chat a while back. I don't know why I just now bothered to post it, but I wanted to know if anyone here could identify this thing. We can't tell if it's a person or not. Not sure if this is the right sub to put this in, but any help is appreciated." Now, what we see here is immediately off-putting. To me, this thing looks way too strange and thin to be human, but a lot of commenters mention that the figure does look like a human woman, just a really thin woman who probably isn't okay. It looks like she may have wounds on parts of her body, and she's clearly emaciated. Some think this person may have needed help and that the uploader should contact the police, but I don't know what good that will really do. Personally, it's hard to make anything out from this image, and it's from 2022. So this was someone in distress. I just hope they made it home okay. In India's Karnataka state, there's a forest near a place called Kanapur that's now blocked off every year during monsoon season. Entry is strictly forbidden, and that's because when it rains, the entire area turns into this dangerous mess. The trails get covered in slippery moss, rivers and waterfalls overflow, and the visibility gets so bad you could easily just fall and get swept away. On top of that, you have all the living dangers to worry about. Leopards, bears, and tigers, oh my. And things get more dangerous during the season because the animals get pushed into smaller areas thanks to flooding. What really pushed things over the edge was a group of guys who ignored the ban, hiked into the restricted zone, and posted videos of themselves online. Thankfully, they didn't die, but they were arrested. Since then, they've added more security here. They got checkposts now, forest staff patrolling the area, and they're turning people away every day. You don't get a slap on the wrist if you're caught. It is a criminal charge. The Red Forest is a no-go zone inside the Chernobyl exclusion zone in Ukraine. When the Chernobyl disaster happened in 1986, this patch of forest got hit with this blast of radiation so strong it killed the trees almost instantly. And the pine needles turned red. That's of course where the name comes from. And the ground is still full of radioactive dust decades later. Unlike a lot of the forests on this list, the danger here is pretty much unavoidable. It's dangerous to your health just standing in it for too long. Imagine getting lost here. The Ukrainian government made it illegal to enter without special permission, and even then, you're not allowed to stay for very long. You need protective gear as well. There are patrols, checkpoints, and fences to keep people out. Tourists can visit parts of the exclusion zone on guided trips, but the Red Forest is off limits. It's so radioactive that even cleanup crews avoid it unless they absolutely have to go in. Animals have come back to the area, but that doesn't mean it's safe. There's not really a way to explain the dangers of radiation poisoning to wild boars and wolves. After the 2011 Fukushima Daiichi nuclear disaster, Japan set up a 20-kilometer exclusion zone around the Fukushima Daiichi plant. Some areas have reopened, but a portion are still off limits. They're known as the difficult to return zones. These are forests where radiation levels are still dangerously high. Just like the Red Forest in Ukraine, you can't get in without special permission. Don't know why you'd want to anyway, though. These forests cover about 70% of Fukushima Prefecture. Decontaminating them is pretty much impossible because of the way radiation particles cling to trees and soil, so the government decided not to bother with these areas, focusing on places people actually live in and work around. Even in zones where people have returned, foraging is still restricted. Wild plants and mushrooms often contain radiation levels that are well above safety limits. The radiation just seeps into the ground. Nungai is a forest in northeast India that's technically off limits. If you're an outsider, that is. It's a protected area, and under Indian law, you're not supposed to build on it, live there, or do much of anything without permission. That hasn't stopped people from trying, though. Over the years, parts of the forest have been cleared out for farming. People have also tried to build homes here. Some of those clearings were done by setting fires on purpose. In 2023, police caught 4 guys hunting in the forest with firearms and flashlights. The forest department and police have had to do full-blown eviction drives, removing illegal setups and chasing people off the land. It's gotten tense a few times, so the government put a stop to casual visits. No camping, no picnics. Even if you're just looking to explore, you're not allowed in without official clearance. It's also a sacred place for some of the local communities, so there's pressure to keep people out for both environmental and cultural reasons. Sapo National Park is the biggest protected rainforest in Liberia, and while it's technically possible to visit, you need special permission, and even then, the government has restricted access a number of times over the years. The place is pretty dangerous if you're inexperienced. It's deep, it's isolated, and there are no marked trails. You're basically on your own here if you try to get in without clearance. People have tried, though. In the early 2000s, there was this wave of illegal settlers who tried to move into the forest, and it took government troops and UN peacekeepers to get them out. There's also been poaching and illegal gold mining here. In 2023, over 3,000 illegal miners were removed from 24 camps in the park. But because of how wild and on track the forest is, just getting in is hard enough. Some sections have been sealed off completely, and wildlife authorities have even set up patrols to watch for people trying to sneak in. Technically, this forest is open to the public, but a lot of areas are closed off, and authorities strongly discourage going outside the designated trails. This is a very dense, quiet patch of woods sitting at the base of Mount Fuji in Japan. Locals call it the Sea of Trees because it's so thick it's easy to get lost in just a few minutes. The ground is all hardened lava from an old eruption, and it absorbs sound, so when you're in there, it's dead silent. That silence is one of the things that makes this place feel so unsettling, and its dark reputation doesn't help either. For decades, people have been going into this forest never to come out again. For whatever reason, people take their own lives here. Signs are posted all over the place telling visitors to turn back or talk to someone if they're feeling overwhelmed. Authorities do regular sweeps, and there are even volunteer groups who go in and look for abandoned tents and missing people. That's how often this happens here. The forest is said to have this strange pull to it, beautiful on the outside, but with this unsettlingly heavy energy. Hoya Forest is said to be one of the strangest places in Romania. There have been stories about it for hundreds of years, people vanishing, hearing voices when no one's around, even getting rashes and nausea after spending time inside. One of the most famous spots is a circular clearing deep in the woods where no trees grow at all. The scientists have tested the soil and can't seem to find a clear reason why nothing survives there. The trees around the circle are all twisted in weird shapes too. And paranormal researchers who spent the night have said their equipment will act up, batteries will die instantly, footage will come back distorted. The place is technically open to visitors, but parts have been closed off over the years, especially after fires or when people have gone missing. They've also restricted drone use, which is rare for a forest like this. If you ask anyone who's been, probably tell you once you're inside, the forest feels like it closes in on you, almost as if it doesn't want you to leave. There have been stories about Witchwood Forest in England being haunted since at least the 1600s. The most well-known story is about the ghost of Amy Robsart, the wife of Lord Robert Dudley, who was found dead at the bottom of a staircase in 1560. Her death was ruled an accident, but many believe she was pushed, possibly so Dudley could marry Queen Elizabeth I. People claim she appears suddenly in the forest, and if she speaks to you, you'll die shortly after. Others have seen a horse-drawn carriage racing through the trees or shadowy figures standing just off the trails. There have also been reports of people hearing their names whispered, sometimes by voices they recognize, except said person isn't actually with them. The forest is a conservation area today, but there are large portions of it that are protected and off limits. Rangers have also reported people needing to be rescued or escorted out in a panic after getting lost. And some locals, especially the older ones, won't go near the place after dark. The Pine Barrens cover over 1 million acres in southern New Jersey. The deeper you go, the stranger it gets. Most people know the Pine Barrens because of the Jersey Devil, a winged, horned cryptid said to stalk the woods, but the real dangers are much more grounded. Massive wildfires break out here all the time, and a lot of them spread fast because the forest floor is packed with dry pine needles and sandy soil. We've also got abandoned towns hiding here, old iron and sawmill villages that were left behind in the 1800s. Sections of Brendan T. Burns State Forest, Wharton State Forest, and others have been sealed off temporarily because of illegal dumping and unexploded ordnance from old military training exercises. And people get lost here too. Rescue teams have found them disoriented, dehydrated, and in some cases telling stories about being followed, but not by animals, something else, something they couldn't quite explain. One guy said he kept hearing footsteps behind him, but every time he turned around, nothing was there, just trees. About 90 miles off the coast of Sao Paulo, Brazil, there's an island so dangerous it's completely off limits. It's crawling with golden lancehead vipers, a species that doesn't exist anywhere else in the world. Some estimates say there could be 1 snake per square meter. Their venom is so strong it can melt your flesh. You step wrong here and you don't get a second chance. These snakes are terrifying too. They're known to snatch up birds when they perch on the trees. The island used to have a lighthouse and a family living on it in the early 1900s, but story goes they didn't make it very long. After that, the place was fully abandoned. Now only a few government researchers and military personnel are allowed to go, and they have to follow very strict protocols, including bringing medical staff with them, of course. Biologists still study the snakes because their venom might be useful for new medicines, but aside from that, the island is completely sealed off.
Starting off this list in our number 10 spot, we have the Idaho footage. This creepy video was posted to Reddit by the user No Recognition 1998, where they wrote that it comes from a trail cam in Idaho that was 20 miles out into the woods. Where the video was taken, they said, is literally in the middle of nowhere, and there would be no reason for someone to be this far out into the isolated woods, especially at this time of night. So that leads me to what the video catches. At 4:37 a.m., what is this that appears on the trail cam? Someone or some kind of creature is caught walking past this trail cam. It definitely appears to be human-like, but there is also something extremely off-putting about whatever this thing is, aside from the other bizarre details surrounding this encounter. What do you think this trail cam caught? In our number 9 spot today, we have the Mothman. This next creepy video was posted to TikTok, and it shows a possible encounter with the famous cryptid, the Mothman. If you're a fan of this channel, I'm sure you're familiar with the legend of the Mothman, but if not, it started all back on a dark November night in 1966. Two couples claimed that they saw a huge bird-like monster that had red glowing eyes. They claimed they saw it while they were cruising down a back road near Point Pleasant, which sits in rural West Virginia. They explained that whatever this creature was, it rose into the air, unfolded these huge bat-like wings, and chased them as they sped away as fast as they could, completely frightened by what they had just seen. From here, stories of the Mothman continued to spread, with more sightings coming in the following weeks, and since then, the Mothman has been an enduring mystery, with some swearing that he exists, and still, to this day, there are reported sightings. Now back to the video. The video shows people recording as they are on a dark trail when they stumble upon a weird scene. It appears as though there is some kind of a creature, maybe eating a human? They begin to get closer to whatever is going on, and you can hear the disbelief in their voice over what they are seeing. Suddenly, it appears as though the creature knows it's being watched, and it starts kind of moving closer to the people recording, and at the end of the day, it doesn't appear as though this Mothman is too fazed by the onlookers, and it just continues to do whatever it was doing with the man in the road. In our number 8 spot today, we have the weird creature. Do you believe in aliens? Or things we can't necessarily prove are real? This next video might just make you a believer. This video was taken in the Acadian woods here in Canada, and it captures a creature that honestly defies explanation. The creature appears to be sitting on some kind of stone structure as those who found it begin recording it. The creature doesn't appear frightened or threatening, but it is totally unlike anything I've ever seen before. It definitely gives off a strange alien feeling, especially with its elongated head seen in the video, but the creature also has a sort of bug-like appearance as well, like it's some kind of grasshopper or something similar. The creature seems to be pretty calm, but it does start to make some inhuman noises. At the end of the day, it is still totally unknown what this creature is, or could be, so if you have an idea, let us know. In our number 7 spot today, we have the abandoned house. This video starts off with people looking through an abandoned house, but they get quite a surprise. The 2-minute long video is mostly just the people walking through the house, searching around for whatever they can find. I mean, the vibes are very creepy. It's an abandoned house and it's dark outside. Around the 50-second mark, however, they find what looks like a newspaper and they begin talking to each other. I have no idea what they are saying because it's not in English, but I'm going to assume they are talking about the paper because they zoom in on it. They begin to continue through the house when the person holding the camera finally sees it. Over in the corner is a little girl. Whether this is a real little girl or some kind of ghost or demon is tough to say, but to be honest, none of these are really great options. The clip shows his initial reaction, but it's kind of tough to see the little girl, so the video then slows it down and brightens it up a bit so we can get a good look at what the video captured. In our number 6 spot today, we have the mermaid. Could mermaids really be real, and maybe just not the beautiful sirens we tend to think of them as? Well, this guy may have just found some proof. This video comes from a man who is walking along the beach when he finds something unusual. When he posted it to TikTok, he claimed that he believes he found the remains of a mermaid, and honestly, once I watched the video, I could definitely understand why he would say this. At first, when he goes to pick this item up, it appears like maybe it's just some branches tangled together, but soon we see that there is so much more going on here. The object he is holding resembles the skeleton of a small mermaid-like creature, complete with the infamous tail. You can see a rib cage, skinny little arms, a head. I don't know, this thing is weird, and honestly, it's really unsettling. Possibly the most unsettling part of this video, however, is when the man just drops the skeleton back into the water like it wasn't the possible remains of a once living creature. Just no respect for the mermaids, I guess. In our number 5 spot today, we have the fallen angel. This video follows two men entering some kind of a forest when they start to come across these really large feathers. They continue on their journey into the woods and follow wherever the feathers are leading them. Eventually, they come across some sort of creature that looks like a man with a wound in his back, but it is definitely pretty difficult to see. Now comes the most cursed part. This man creature thing then turns his head and his eyes are illuminated by the light from the camera. This creature is meant to be a fallen angel. Okay, I'm gonna be honest, this video isn't actually real footage and was made by some Spanish horror film fans, but it is still very cursed and very creepy. If I didn't know that this video was fake, I honestly maybe would have believed it, okay? In our number 4 spot today, we have Bigfoot. No trail cam video is complete without an alleged Bigfoot sighting. This video comes from a hunter and it has a super creepy backstory, not your typical Bigfoot kind of video. The hunter explained that he had found human remains in this makeshift kind of shelter out in the woods, and because of this extremely creepy encounter, he decided to set up a secret trail camera that points at this creepy shelter to see what he would be able to find out. Around sunset the next day, the trail camera captures this. You can see a strange figure come out from the woods and rustle around near this makeshift shelter. The creature is covered in thick fur, and this, coupled with its slightly human-like behavior, has made many speculate that this is indeed a sighting of the legendary Bigfoot. After the creature stands around for a bit, it soon heads back into the forest, but not before picking up a giant log and throwing it at the camera, knocking it over. Perhaps the trail camera wasn't quite as inconspicuous as the hunter might have thought. In our number 3 spot today, we have the Brontosaurus. Dinosaurs are extinct, right? Well, this trail camera video was posted to TikTok, and honestly it left me a little speechless. The date and timestamp on this video show that it was taken around 1:56 a.m. on March 15th of this year. It starts off with just the typical trail cam setup, but you can hear something as it walks into frame. Suddenly, we see a creature with a long neck begin to enter. Its lumbering steps can be heard as it continues on, and once it's fully in frame, it is clear as day that this is a dinosaur. Likely some kind of brontosaur. Nothing super scary happens as this dino walks through the frame, but it is so surreal to see a prehistoric creature mixed in with our more modern times. I know that this video is likely just some good CGI, but what if it wasn't? In our number 2 spot today, we have the levitation. This video starts off with a man and his dog walking through some kind of forest in the snow. They're playing fetch, and the man throws the ball, and the dog chases after it, but when the owner calls the dog back, the dog has clearly seen something else, and he begins running off. This is all fine and well, nothing wrong with a little fetch, but when the man follows the dog to see where he's going, they come across something super strange. It is literally a girl levitating in the air. She's with another person, and it's kind of unclear if he is the one who is levitating her or if she's doing it herself, but either way, when they realize that someone is watching them, she quickly returns to the ground and they both run off, extremely guilty. I know the clip is really grainy and hard to see, but there is definitely something super weird going on here. Witchcraft, aliens, I don't know. And finally, in our number 1 spot today, we have the creature. This trail camera caught some sort of humanoid creature as it walks across the trail. This animal or creature or whatever it is definitely appears slightly human, but it doesn't walk like a human or really like an animal either for that matter. This thing slowly moves on all fours as it lumbers through this forest kind of area. It's got long, awkward limbs, and it doesn't really appear like anything that is known to science, which is why people speculate that this thing is either a demon or some currently undiscovered cryptid. Whatever it is, it's safe to say that I don't want to encounter it. Thank you. Starting off in our number 10 spot, we have the forest encounter. Being in the woods at night is never not scary. Even if you're an experienced outdoors person, there is just something unsettling about the secrets the woods like to hold. This video is absolutely no exception to that. This video was taken back in 2006 in the Catalonian forest, where two men and their families were on a camping trip. I'm not entirely sure what led up to the men taking this video or why they were walking around the forest at night, but regardless of how they got into this position, what happened next is something I'm sure they will never forget. As they walk deeper into this forest, something catches their attention. They see what looks like a mysterious creature on top of a tree branch. As they see the creature, they obviously stop walking and are filming it, scared for what it might be. The forest is of course full of dangerous animals, so it's always good to proceed with caution, but I'm sure these men had no idea just how scary this creature was about to become. As the light from the recorder shines on the creature and the men try to get a closer look, the creature turns its face to look directly at them. The creature's eyes glow in the light with a human-looking head but an inhuman-feeling aura. The men quickly book it out of there, and I have to say, I would do exactly the same thing. After experiencing something like that, I don't think you could ever catch me in the woods again. In our number 9 spot today, we have the skinwalker in the woods. This creepy video was posted to TikTok by the user Adrian Montenegro 02, and it was supposed to be just a casual video showing a camping trip with their family that they were taking near Monterrey in Mexico. It should just be a nice casual fun time, fun family trip, right? Wrong. Of course not. This video shows the family all hanging out together with one member being pushed on a swing by a couple other members. This is all fine and well, but it's what's in the background that really has viewers concerned and definitely had the family freaking out when they reviewed the footage. In the back, you see a creepy figure moving around. This figure is pale and human looking, and it just moves around quietly like it's trying not to be seen. Is it hiding from the family? Is it planning something sinister? After posting, many viewers began putting forth their theories. Some believe the figure seen in the back is a skinwalker, while others believe it is someone who lives in the woods waiting for their moment to strike. At the end of the day, whatever this thing is, it is sure unsettling, and all I can ask is, why is it watching this family's vacation? In our number 8 spot today, we have Bigfoot? Would this list truly be complete without the sighting of a supposed Bigfoot? This video comes from 2015 when a man named McCamey reported seeing a strange, unexplainable creature hiding in the woods. McCamey was kayaking in a swamp close to Tampa in Florida when he heard a noise, and then he began to see some strange movement. He started recording what he thought was likely a bear or a similar kind of animal, but as he got closer he realized that something more unusual was going on. The creature began to navigate through the alligator-infested water with ease, and it began using its arms to swing through the branches, which is something that isn't really commonly seen with bears, as far as I know. Some people believe this video is a hoax, while others believe this is full-blown proof that Bigfoot is alive and well and living in Florida. What do you think? In our number 7 spot today, we have a cult meeting. This next video comes from a group of friends who were on a casual hike, enjoying themselves, getting some fresh air and exercise, but little did they know they were about to stumble upon something a lot more sinister than a typical day outdoors. As they are hiking on the trail and up a hill, they look back and see some kind of weird secret cult or secret society type meeting. These people begin walking, dressed in white robes, and while that obviously isn't any kind of a crime, it's bizarre, to say the least. The person who took the video also posted another video of this strange encounter because these people didn't just look creepy, they were also making creepy sounds. I can't tell if the sound is music, singing, chanting, screaming, I'm not entirely sure, but whatever it is, it was all creepy enough for these guys to stop their hike, record, and post it on the internet for all of us to watch and wonder, what exactly is going on here? In our number 6 spot today, we have the backyard horror. This video starts off with someone recording in their home. We quickly find out that the reason they started recording is because they noticed something strange in their backyard. Never a good way to start off a video. He apparently was hearing weird voices coming from outside of his house, and of course wanted to record as he investigated, and well, good thing he did. He turns the lights off inside so that he could see what was going on outside better, and well, absolute nightmare fuel ensues when he does this. As he turns the camera to the dark backyard, he suddenly sees a human-like creature come darting towards him. The figure appears to have come from a bush in the backyard, and who knows how long it had been there for. What is so creepy to me is that this creature clearly knew he was looking into the yard at this point, so I want to know how long it was there for, watching him through the windows. Also, what the hell is that thing? Let me know. In our number 5 spot today, we have the creepy figure. This video starts off with a group of men riding their motorcycles through the woods, which honestly already sounds challenging enough. The video seems to be progressing as one would expect until things take a turn for the worse. Quickly, the video descends into terror and madness as they realize that something or someone is chasing them. You can hear one of the men yelling and screaming for help as the other men in front of him begin to pull over and try and figure out what is happening. That would be absolutely jarring to be just on a fun day out with your friends when suddenly one of them starts screaming for help. Absolutely terrifying already, but I don't think any of the men were expecting to see what happens next. A creepy human-like creature can be seen chasing the men, and when one of them gets off the bike, it begins coming up to the bike and toward the group. The men are caught between being utterly terrified of this encounter while also trying to protect their bike from damage or being stolen. You can absolutely hear the panic in their voices as they try to figure out what exactly is going on. In our number 4 spot today, we have this weird creature. This video comes from Australia, which is of course the land of creepy creatures, and whatever is caught on this video is certainly no exception. The person who captured the video was driving through a deserted forest at night, which just already feels like you're asking for trouble. As they are driving through this creepy area and recording, something appears in front of the car. This creature, whatever it is, although it doesn't look like any animals that I know of, quickly disappears just as quickly as it did appear, moving in a strange and very fast way. Let's take another look at this thing, but slow down a bit. Honestly, I have no explanation for what this is or what it could be. Some believe it's a skinwalker, others believe it's a demon. Whatever you want to believe, let's just hope you never cross paths with it. In our number 3 spot today, we have the Appalachian Trail footage. This next creepy video comes from someone who was hiking by themselves along the Appalachian Trail. He was resting in his tent, again, all alone, when suddenly he began to hear a terrifying screeching sound. I guess when you're out in the wilderness all alone, you really have no choice but to investigate the creepy sound. Better to know where it's coming from than just wait and see and hope for the best. He gets out of his tent and begins recording the sound as he calls out for any response to what could be making this horrifying sound. You can hear the fear in his voice as he tries to shine his light and see as far as he can in the pitch black wilderness. The noise sounds as though it's getting closer and closer, and you can faintly see shadows moving in between the trees as if something knows he is there and is coming to take a look. At one point, it even looks like you can maybe see the reflection of eyes off in the distance. It isn't quite clear exactly what he encountered that day, but whatever it is, I wouldn't want to meet it face to face. In our number 2 spot today, we have the creepy man. This video was taken in a remote area in Montana, out in what appears to be some kind of forest area. Now, a lot of the videos on today's list feature unknown creatures and creepy looking things, but this video looks like it just captures a man. The man gives off a kind of weird vibe to begin with. I mean, he's just standing alone in the woods, which is kind of weird. But the people recording call out to him to see if he's okay, if he needs any help, just to double check, which, you know, that's very nice of them. Unfortunately, instead of just a regular casual encounter, this man suddenly turns into an absolute nightmare. The man begins to move towards the people recording, but not in a normal human way, in a creepy, crawling way that would make anyone feel absolutely disturbed. Was this just a creepy person trying to freak someone out, or was something a little bit more paranormal at play? And finally, in our number 1 spot today, we have the graveyard ghost. Okay, I'll be honest, this video doesn't take place on a trail or in the woods, but it does take place somewhere equally as creepy, and that is a graveyard. Perhaps one of the creepiest places on Earth. It isn't quite clear exactly where this graveyard is, but the person who took the video had initially gone there because they apparently had been hearing some strange noises coming from the cemetery for several days. I feel like if I had heard a strange noise coming from a cemetery, I'd probably call the police, or Ed and Lorraine Warren. The last thing I would ever do would be to take it upon myself to investigate. The curious video taker is clearly braver than I, because they went to explore and definitely found more than they had bargained for. I have absolutely no idea what this thing is, with its elongated limbs and creepy posture. I'm not sure how the person taking the video was able to stand there for so long, but I feel like fight or flight really took over in this case. Was this a ghost, a demon, a zombie? Honestly, at this point, the possibilities are endless.
The Moose Pig, also known as the Beast of Dean, is a cryptid legend that's haunted the woods of Gloucestershire for centuries. It's said to resemble a wild boar, but much larger, like a wild boar the size of a moose, hence the name. The Royal Forest of Dean first became a hotspot for sightings back in 1802, when locals reported this massive boar that seemed to be knocking down trees, crushing fences, and letting out what could only be described as this unearthly roar. It wasn't until 1807 that a group of local hunters finally tracked it down and killed it, but when they examined the creature, they realized this wasn't any normal boar. The hunters all agreed that whatever they had killed wasn't from around there, nor was it like any creature they'd ever seen, and after that there were no more problems. That is until 1998, when 2 locals, James Nash and Marshall Davies, were passing through the woods. It was eerily quiet, the birds stopped chirping, there were no sounds of squirrels, there wasn't even a breeze, just this eerie dead silence. Never a good sign in a forest, and that's when they heard it. A deep low growl followed by something massive moving through the darkness toward them. They couldn't even comprehend how big the thing was. It was just closing in so fast. They started running for their lives, and that's when they heard another unearthly roar echo from the woods behind them. To this day, no one really knows what they encountered. Did they just freak themselves out? Were they making it all up? Or is something still lurking deep in the Royal Forest of Dean? In the heart of the Amazon rainforest, there is a cryptid known as the Mapinguari, a beast that's been the subject of local legends for centuries. Some say it's the cursed form of an ancient Amazonian shaman who discovered the secret to immortality, only to anger the gods and be transformed into a giant hairy monster. The Mapinguari is often described as this massive sloth-like creature, standing up to 7 feet tall, covered in long reddish fur. Some versions of the legend say it has backward-facing feet, a flattened snout, almost like a horse, and huge claws. Some describe it having the face of a giant ground sloth. Some describe it having one large eye like a cyclops. But the strangest detail on the creature is the huge mouth on its stomach that it uses to swallow its prey. Sightings of this creature date back centuries, with reports of a horrible, nauseating smell that accompanies it, so bad that it can knock a person unconscious. The Mapinguari is said to move slowly on all fours, but can stand and walk bipedally if needed. Its roar is described as this terrifying thunder-like sound, or a high-pitched scream that sounds oddly, eerily human. In some areas, this creature's been blamed for the deaths of cattle, specifically by tearing out their tongues. Locals claim that the only way to take it down is by hitting it specifically in its belly, eye, or mouth. Bullets and arrows can't take it down. But is the Mapinguari just an ancient myth, or is there really something out there deep in the Amazon rainforest? In the remote forests of Vermont, there's a stretch of land known as the Bennington Triangle, and a lot of weird stuff is said to go on here. People report seeing weird things. Some enter the area and are just never seen again. It's quite the mysterious patch of land, and the whole thing started really in the 1940s when several people vanished without a trace in the area, including a young woman named Paula Weldon, who was last seen hiking on a popular trail. No sign of her was ever found. And she wasn't the only one. Over the next few years, more people went missing in the same area, and rumors started to spread that there was something sinister lurking in the woods. Amongst the UFO and shadow person reports, you also have stories of a creature simply known as the Bennington Monster. Some describe the creature as being part human, part animal, with glowing eyes and this overpowering presence that seems to distort the forest around it. Others claim it's something more monstrous with a hulking frame and dark fur, something more like a Sasquatch. But is it possible that some large ape-like creature is responsible for all the unexplained disappearances in the forest? Epping Forest in Essex, England is packed with eerie legends, and many of them have been around for centuries. Take Dick Turpin, for example, the infamous highwayman who's said to have held up in a cave as a hideout. Some believe his ghost still roams the forest, riding through the night on his horse Black Bess, dragging a woman behind him. Then there's Hangman's Hill, where the legend says that a hangman pushes your car uphill. There's also the White Hart, a pure white stag, which according to legend is a signal of impending doom. And you don't want to run into a creature called the Black Shuck either, a ghostly dog with big, fiery eyes, which also brings bad luck. So maybe it's best not to walk through the forest on foot and have a scenic drive-through instead. Well, Epping New Road, which runs through the forest, comes with its own set of problems. People have spotted headless bikers, shadowy black figures, and a horseless carriage along the dark stretches of road. In the forests of the northeastern United States, there's a creature that's as mysterious as it is mischievous, the Pukwudgie. These little tricksters are part of Native American folklore, especially known in the legends of the Wampanoag tribe. Pukwudgies stand about 2 to 3 feet tall. They have grayish skin and large ears. Some stories say they have quills or spines on their backs, almost like strange hedgehog-type creatures. While they're known for being mischievous, Pukwudgies can be a lot more dangerous than you might think. If you offend them or get on their bad side, they get really nasty. They're said to be skilled hunters and can disappear and reappear at will, making them nearly impossible to track. Some versions of the legend say they can shapeshift, turning into animals or even inanimate objects. Now, while some Native American traditions view them as protectors of the forest, there is a darker side to the Pukwudgie legend. They're notorious for pulling pranks on humans, playing tricks that can go from annoying to downright dangerous. Now, this may be the strangest creature I've ever talked about on the channel, Veggie Man. So in the woods around Fairmont, West Virginia, there's this strange cryptid known as the Vegetable Man, or Veggie Man. It's described as a towering figure easily over 7 feet tall, with a thin, semi-human shape that seems to be part plant. Its arms look like long, thin reeds, and its eyes flash through colors rapidly changing from red to yellow. Then there's the ends of its fingers, which have suction cups with sharp thorns, almost like something you'd find on a carnivorous plant. The most infamous encounter with the Veggie Man happened in 1968, when a hunter named Jennings Frederick was out in the woods. Really feels like his first and last name should be swapped, but whatever, that is not the strangest thing about this story. So as Jennings Frederick was tracking some game, he started hearing a weird sound, something like a high-pitched jabbering, almost like a record player spinning too fast. He started following the noise before eventually coming face to face with something he was never expecting to see, even in his wildest dreams. It was some sort of creature. He said it looked almost sickly and weak, but that as soon as he locked eyes with it, it began to communicate with him telepathically. It claimed to come in peace, even asking for medical help, and as shocked and terrified as Frederick was, it seemed the thing meant no harm, at least at first, because suddenly the creature lunged at him, wrapping him up in its surprisingly strong grip as it pierced his skin with its thorny fingers. Frederick found himself mesmerized by the flashing colors of its eyes, but then, just as quickly as it appeared, the creature raced back off in the woods, leaving Frederick completely mortified, convinced that he just encountered something extraterrestrial. That was the only known sighting of the Veggie Man. So what do you think it is? An alien, a monster, a hoax? Let us know in the comments. In the summer of 1944, Summit County, Ohio became the scene of one of the strangest encounters ever to hit the state, which is saying a lot for Ohio. People living near Cuyahoga Valley National Park started reporting sightings of a massive python around 15 feet long. At first, authorities figured it was just another tall tale. There are no giant snakes slithering around Ohio, but in this case, it turns out there actually was. See, as more and more reports rolled in, it started becoming clear that people were seeing something, and it turned out that somehow a massive python had been let loose in the wilds of Ohio. As for how it got there, that's still a mystery to this day. Some think it escaped from a private collection, others wondered if someone just intentionally dumped it in the woods. Regardless though, the residents of Summit County weren't too happy about the situation. The snake wasn't just lurking in the woods, it was roaming through their farms, it was leaving these giant indentations in the ground, and it was attacking people's livestock. The locals were terrified, and authorities launched a full-scale search. The python was never found though. By the time fall rolled around, it was presumed the creature was dead, most likely just unable to survive Ohio's winter. But for that one summer, Ohio had an actual wild python on the loose. It seems like an urban legend, but it was not. This next story comes from Reddit user FickleParticular83, who told a story about a harrowing experience his neighbor had while working as a park ranger. It goes as follows. My neighbor used to be a park ranger for the National Park Service. He once told me he was making the rounds at a park in the Appalachian Mountains. It was a gorgeous night with a bright moon, clear skies, and a nice 75 degrees. 30 minutes into his shift though, he feels something liquid tap on his shoulder. First he didn't think anything of it, thinking it could be an animal doing its business up in the tree. He wipes it away, only to notice that the liquid was sticky. Flashed his light on his fingers and saw BLOOD, which startled him, but not as much as what he saw next. When he shined his light up the tree, way up top was the carcass of a mangled male deer. Its body was totally ripped up and twisted. Obviously seeing this is creepy as heck, but what really bothered him was that the tree the deer was hanging from was really tall and difficult to climb. The first 20 feet of the tree had no branches, and the deer carcass was maybe 100 feet up in the tree. I argued it was maybe a cougar or some other mountain lion, but he didn't think a cougar would stash their prey this high up. He also told me there were no cougars in the state, let alone that one park. The squonk is said to be a strange creature that hails from the hemlock forests of northern Pennsylvania. First written about in 1910 in Fearsome Creatures of the Lumber Woods, the squonk is described as an incredibly shy and weepy creature with a really rough appearance, to say the least. Imagine a small, ugly, wart-covered animal with a face that even a mother couldn't love. Comes as no surprise that the squonk is constantly crying. In fact, if you ever wanted to track one down, all you'd need to do is follow the trail of its tears. The squonk has the ability to dissolve into a puddle of tears when it's frightened or trapped, so if you ever manage to corner one, don't expect to actually catch it. Some versions of the story also say that squonks are especially slow on moonlit nights because they avoid looking at their reflection in the water, afraid of seeing how ugly they are. From Reddit user Skeleton Mole Stir 3000, couldn't say that word altogether. Anyway, this Redditor told a story about a strange photo that their mother took of the woods outside their home. Notice anything strange about this picture here? Well, here's what the Redditor said. My mom built a walkway to the forest behind our house, lined with driftwood and mossy sticks, and took this picture to show my brother. But she noticed something weird in the background. She cropped the image and circled the figure. I wander around in the forest behind my house all the time, and the worst thing I've seen out there is a coyote or a black bear. Also, I know the layout of trees and plants in my backyard, and it's pretty evident that this wasn't a tree stump. I live by a really tame and shallow forest, and due to its proximity to different neighborhoods, it even has cell service. We figured it must have been a person, so we tried to recreate the image, but a person in that spot just stood out way too much, and it wasn't ever as shrouded or shadowed as this figure. Nobody in my family was outside at the time, and my mom said she was alone when she took that picture. Weirdly, the figure in the picture seems to be the wrong color, wrong lighting, and wrong resolution. It almost looks like it was just photoshopped in. Its color and build looks too pale gray and statue-like to be a person. What is this thing? The user If you're interested, also attach this image of the woods outside their home without the mysterious figure present.
Exploring woodland trails in the dead of night is not for the faint of heart, especially when you come across anomalies that your brain simply cannot make sense of. We know what a dog looks like, and we know what a pig looks like, but what happens when the two of them are combined together? The person who uploaded this seemed to have the same questions, keeping a close following on the strange animal that you see in the video. What's striking about this weird creature is that it almost looks as if two of its body parts do not belong together. Its head is much bigger than the rest of its smaller body, and the coloration of its fur does not match at all. There is a clear stripe that goes down its head, but stops immediately at its neck. And that's extremely unusual. This spliced creature seems to also carry its prey with ease, not tiring in the slightest despite its size comparison. If you come across its path, would you also be brave enough to follow it? At least with animal-like anomalies, our brains can easily categorize the creature as some sort of species that maybe hadn't been discovered yet until that very day. But what if it was a supernatural monster that looked eerily similar to a human? Taking a nighttime ride on their bikes, a group of guys come across this eerie person-like form, except they are completely bare from head to toe, without even a speck of hair on their head. This is not at all like a normal thing to come across in an open area. I'm getting extremely uncanny valley vibes the longer I look at this thing. The way it carries its arms and how it walks, and not to mention the slow turnaround it does when it's approached by the bikers. Extremely bold of them, might I add. It almost unironically reminds me of a Ken doll, completely stripped of everything that remotely resembles a normal human being. Something is just not right about this video. And like the two bikers in the beginning of the video, you will not catch me sticking around to find out what that thing is. There is something magical and almost fairy-like about wanting to walk around in the woods in a delicate nightgown and maybe some braids in my hair and flowers. But in the daytime, not in an absolute pitch black forest where I can't even see 5 feet in front of me. Environment and atmosphere is everything when it comes to photography, and this trail cam photo definitely nailed the taking of Deborah Logan look. As you can see, this still image shows what may appear to be an older woman walking through the woods at night. I say older because of the vintage nightgown, which I totally don't own myself. The owner of this trail cam is unknown, and I think that makes it all the more scary. Where did it come from? Who is this strange woman? And will we ever find out why she's out in the woods by herself? All I know is I hope she's all right. Having the safety of a car when traveling alone at night definitely brings me more comfort and ease knowing that there is at least some sort of barrier between me and whatever may be out there lurking within the darkness. An account named Creepy Outdoors on TikTok uploaded this video online, showing what appears to be a solo hiker trying to enjoy a peaceful night alone out in a forest trail. Now, I'm not the one to judge, but you should always make sure to have someone with you when you're being this brave. Throughout his journey, the man felt off and decided to end his journey early. However, finally making it back into that safe barrier of his car, he started to hear a strange knocking coming from the back window. This happens multiple times, and the second time sounding more urgent and slightly aggressive than the first. Finally being taken out of freeze mode, the hiker goes to investigate, only to find something he truly wishes he didn't see. A handprint is outlined on the back window, only it wasn't a human, as he lightly outlines with his finger of its rough shape. Thankfully, the TikToker is safe and nothing else came out of this encounter. But still, what could have possibly been knocking that much to get his attention? Especially if it wasn't a human that was doing it. I truly do believe there are hidden secrets that our Earth holds from us, and whether it be from the government or something completely out of this world, I aim to keep an open mind about them. As my jealousy exceeds me, these two hikers were given the opportunity to catch such a sighting. Or so they claim. They appeared to be in a canyon of sorts, and seemingly had stopped in the middle of their journey because they allegedly saw a door open on the side of a hillside wall. This is actually disturbing because as they zoom in on the hill, you can actually see a door-shaped cutout within the rock. I feel if I do look at it long enough, my brain will start to make me think, or make me see it opening and closing as well. My guess is, there's gotta be something sort of secret base in there if what they're telling us is true. Now I want to go out there and find out for myself. But like always, only in the daytime, and maybe with 5 to 10 friends supporting me. Staying within the woods for a short period of time for a little hike is all fine and dandy. What if you choose to stay there for multiple nights? By yourself? This camper is much braver than me and thankfully recorded his journey of a strange anomaly that happened to him on his solo trip. It was all fine in the beginning, until things began to happen as his journey progressed into the nighttime. Hearing some noises outside, he proceeds out of his camper with caution, only to notice the flickering of a light way off in the distance. Getting closer to it, he notices that it's a flashlight that wasn't left by him. Clearly, he wasn't alone in these woods. And I quote from him, "A flashlight just doesn't fall out of the sky." Taking a break and trying to compose himself, he steps away from the flashlight after taking it with him, only to come back and notice that it was turned on and moved from the original spot he placed it down in. You've got to be kidding me. I'd pack up and leave right after that. But clearly this guy was no quitter and proceeded to stay the night, even sleeping it off, before making it to the morning and leaving as soon as the sun came up. He was incredibly lucky nothing had happened to him, and I think it's better we never find out who or what was playing this sick joke on him, because for all we know, it could have been someone with not so great intentions. Being able to catch a real ghost on camera has and always will be one of the greatest achievements of our lifetimes. Whenever I go hiking out in the woods, I always like to record my findings, but I don't know how I feel when it comes to much older buildings. The man recording this video seemingly comes out of the brush after hiking for a bit and stumbles upon a church. I don't blame him for wanting to record, as old-style churches are incredibly beautiful and intricate in its design. However, as it pans down to get a view of the whole building, we see that there is a woman there watching him film, probably wanting to introduce himself and maybe explain why he's taking a video. It only gets all the more scarier as the woman disappears completely as he turns the corner. And I do mean completely. The only logical explanation, if you would call it that, is that she had gone through the wall itself. It was never explained who this girl was, and the hiker never sees her again after that. But if it was truly a ghost, I personally wouldn't stay any second longer in that location. Were you the type of child that liked to run on all fours? Or would you run up the stairs like a dog or a cat? I definitely was, because it was fun, silly, and harmless. Would you say the same if it came to seeing it outside in the darkness? Seeing this video definitely freezes me in place, as we clearly see what may appear to be a child or a woman standing on all fours, aggressively shaking their head in an unnatural way. If I were to come across this and saw that thing down the trail, you better believe I'm turning in the opposite direction. I am not playing here. Not to mention the way it's standing, how all its limbs are completely straightened out, not like how humans will have a natural bend in their knees or arms when placing themselves in this position. If this came running towards you at full speed, what do? I think my heart would stop, and I'd give up and let the creature take me. Maybe it'll raise me as one of their own. Who knows? Now these next group of guys are smart. You always want to stick together as a group when exploring forest trails in the dark. And even better that they have bikes. All the more easier to get away from whatever could be chasing you within the dark, confusing landscape of the woods. This one you really need to slow down and watch carefully, because you might just miss it. It all happens so fast, mainly because of the speed that these guys are tearing up. But right at the beginning, you can see our main guy with the GoPro swerve out of the way from what appears to be a figure dressed in all black, with the only clear area of skin that's shown is its hand. The creature seemed to also completely unbothered, especially when two bikes had already passed. This strikes me as very odd. Not even a single reaction coming from the anomaly. Some speculate that it was some sort of witch, which isn't a bad guess, and considering the tattered, long black clothing that they were wearing, which stereotypical cartoon witches wear. I've only heard stories of unknown creatures running across the front of a car of a dark trail, and I'm glad it's only that I've experienced. With the lack of streetlights and only being dependent on the soft glow of your headlights, who knows what you'll find out there within the comfort of a dark forest. Right as the car turns the corner, we see far off into the distance of what appears to be an incredibly large beast bolt across the street, as if they're the ones being surprised by the sudden appearance. Are you kidding me? I'm terrified of you, pal. You're the size of 6 of me stacked up. And if you look closely, were those two tails I saw? Or antennas?
Number 10, alien caught on camera. In September 2024, this mysterious figure was caught on camera. Its movement activated the trail cam, and it appears to have a glowing body and an orb-shaped head. This is one of those eerie sightings that sends shivers right down your spine, especially with all the drone stuff happening. Is this an alien? The soft, otherworldly glow that it gives off only adds to its unsettling, odd appearance, making it seem as if it's straight out of a sci-fi nightmare. Its form seems definitely unnatural, unnatural. That's not an animal for sure. Now some say it is an optical illusion, possibly lens flare or a strange reflection off the lens, making it appear far larger than it actually is. Yet the way the light plays around its figure leaves many wondering, could it be something we can't explain? Or is it just another trick of the eye? Either way, the mysterious nature of this alien image still holds a creepy allure, leaving you to wonder if there's something more out there. Number 9, Ghost Woman. This photo comes to us from Brandon Cottrell. They say, quote, "When I was setting up the trail cameras that day, it felt like I wasn't alone outside. The eerie part is that a young woman went missing in this very area back in the late 80s, and despite years of searching, they've never found any remains. That history combined with this photo, remind me to never go in the woods again. I'm just gonna stay inside forever. We're good." It's hard not to imagine that whatever was out there that day could have been linked to the disappearance, as if something or someone has been watching the area for all of these years, just waiting for the right time to reveal itself. That was spooky. Sent shivers down my back reading that one. Whenever I do this with my hands, is how you know it's real. Number 8, Ghost Snake. What in the world is this? This strange figure zipped past the camera not once, but twice, leaving us all scratching our heads. It's completely unexplainable, especially considering it was caught in the middle of nowhere, deep in the upper Midwest. No one can figure out what it is or where it came from. The way it moved so quickly, so purposefully, has us questioning everything. Could it be something we've never seen before up until now? Or is there another explanation that we're missing? I can't figure it out. I can't even think about what animal this could be. Last I checked, electric eels don't fly, but who knows? Maybe I'm wrong. I have a coffee bean or something stuck in my... something in there. It's right there. I feel it. Number 7, Montana Grim Reaper. This one comes from a user, and they say my grandpa lives in rural Montana, and one day one of his friends from town came into the local bar looking completely shaken. So my grandpa then said that he was in a state of shock almost. His face was as pale as a ghost. He was reluctant to show the photos at first, worried that people might think that he was losing his mind. More than fair. He owns a big piece of land and has trail cameras set up to track wildlife. That part's not weird. But when he went through the footage, that's when he found something quite odd. My grandpa's wife sent the photos to a nearby university for analysis, and to their surprise, the professor couldn't explain what they were looking at. So what do you think this is? Or who? Any ideas on what could be lurking? What are your best theories? Comment down below. Number 6, Chain Man. This user anonymously posted this photo online with an eerie backstory. They say, my uncle set up a trail cam at my old grandparents' house, which is now abandoned. Abandoned, that's the key word here. The camera takes 3 photos every time it detects motion, but this strange figure only shows up in 1 of the 3 shots. They have no idea what it was. They say, I'm not saying it's a ghost, though I don't really believe in that stuff. Hey, I don't know how to tell you this, but that's for sure a ghost. Either there's a man living there, or there's a ghost living there. One of the two. Good game. Thanks for sharing. Number 5, The Last Hike. Dalen Kaloa went missing during a hike on the infamous Haiku Stairs, also known as the Stairway to Heaven. Ironically enough. On the morning of February 27th, 2015, Dalen told his family that he planned to hike this dangerous illegal trail. Now, throughout the hike, he sent several photos to his family, but in one image, they noticed something quite strange in the background. They noticed an unidentified man just standing there, almost lurking, watching his every moves. Dalen never returned, and despite extensive searches, he was never found. So now, of course, his family is seeking the public's help to identify this man in the background of the photo, believing, of course, that he might hold vital information that could lead to Dalen's whereabouts. This haunting mystery remains unsolved, leaving many to wonder, could this unidentified man provide the key to uncovering what happened that day? Or even worse, was this man responsible? Number 4, Battleground Ghost. In 1862, 3 major battles were fought in what now is the Maryland section of the Appalachian Trail. Now, the sheer number of casualties in these battles, of course, create an eerie atmosphere, with many soldiers losing their lives on that land. Today, hikers report seeing ghostly soldiers, strange campfires, and even hearing cannon blasts echoing in the distance, almost as if the spirits of the fallen soldiers are still present. Now, one haunting site is near the farm of Daniel Wise. Visitors to the area have claimed to see ghostly figures wandering the land, adding to the chilling history of this part of the trail. This photo here was taken in May 2015 in that exact same spot. Do you believe this is a ghost from a civil battle? Comment down below. What do you think this is? Number 3, Halloween Ghost. Captured, of course, on Halloween Day 2023, this eerie image shows what appears to be a ghostly figure, a ghostly white figure clinging onto an old tree. Now the form is faint, almost human. Not quite, but almost there, and it's blurred and the low quality makes it seem like it's drifting between this world and another. It raises the question, could it be a simple trick of light with the sun casting strange shadows through the branches? Perfectly explainable? Or is this someone or something who has quietly been watching from the shadows all along, only now revealing itself to those who look closely? This looks a lot like something I saw when I was younger. I always wondered if I saw a ghost or if I was just seeing things. Now I'm starting to think it's the former. Number 2, headless deer. Like something straight out of a dark fairy tale, this image captures a deer that, well, seems to be missing its head, doesn't it? Wandering the forest with an eerie sense of purpose. Perhaps, where's my head? Maybe that's a good purpose, trying to find that. Its disembodied form stirs an unsettling feeling, as if it's lost, aimlessly drifting through the woods, haunting anyone who crosses its path. Now, I know this is most likely an illusion, but the way the deer is angled, I'll be honest, I really can't see how its head can be positioned in order for this to happen. Imagine seeing this on your trail cam one morning. Ugh, I would be sick. And finally, number 1, Mount St. Helens. On May 18th, 1980, David A. Johnston, a dedicated volcanologist, stood over Mount St. Helens, aware of the growing signs of unrest. Now, given the date of this photo, you can probably guess what happens next. This was 13 hours before the devastating eruption, and he made his last transmission over the radio. He said, "Vancouver, Vancouver, this is it." And he was not wrong. Those haunting words echoed into silence as the volcano did erupt, sending ash and destruction all across the landscape. Now, despite extensive search efforts, David's remains were never found, except for this photo, which of course leaves behind a chilling reminder of nature's unpredictable power and the sacrifices made, all in the name of science.